No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for March the 13th, 2023, as we continue on the road to WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood, Inglewood, actually, but they like to call it Hollywood. We kicked off Monday Night Raw with the Rated R Superstar Edge. Now, real quick shout out to the early birds, Joey Perez, Matthew, Walter, Hamp, Gomer Kyle, CC Drink, Socially Outcasted, Dave Scheffler, Calvin Bowman, Don Bowen. Much love to you all. Jonathan, Randy Engel. Edge came to the ring, got right to the point, called out Finn Bálor. Bálor and Judgment Day came out to the stage. Edge said that he was there to end things. He was accepting Finn Bálor's WrestleMania challenge. He's running out of time, though, to finish things. And he did admit that Finn Bálor made Judgment Day better. Edge used a bunch of jokes to describe Judgment Day, compared them to the Addams family, and then got serious and said there's only one way to end things between them. And that is at WrestleMania, they have a Hell in a Cell match, which Finn Bálor did accept. He said that Hell could not handle his demons, but until then, ... And then he sent Judgment Day into the ring. Edge tried to fight them off, but was overwhelmed. And then you had the former Way faction, Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae running down to make the save. And that led to our first match of the evening. Johnny Gargano and Dexter going up against Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest. Now, Dave Scheffler sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Dave. Much appreciated. Says, when will KO join Sami Zayn? It's got to happen soon. I get that question every week. And as I said on the No DQ review, I think that they're going to potentially wait until the last week to do the big reunion. And I've said this several times. We do have 2 more Raws and 2 more SmackDowns. I'm thinking, my gut feeling at this point is they will do the reunion on the Go Home Raw. Next week, they have a loaded show. Roman Reigns is going to be there. They could do it next week. Maybe we get some kind of setup on SmackDown, but I'm thinking they may wait till the Go Home show. Michael sent in a $2 super chat, says, do you think Dominic attacks his mom or sister at the Hall of Fame? No, and I will get to that here in just a few moments when we talk about Rey Mysterio, but I'm thinking they're not going to do any angle for it, and Dominic pretty much hinted that he will leave Rey alone. Again, more on that here in just a few moments. Socially Outcasted, hoping they go back to the old Hell in a Cell structure without the red color. I agree with you. I prefer the old color better. That's just me, though. I'm sure a lot of people agree with me. I'm loving the Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. I'm very much in favor of the idea that Hell in a Cell should happen when the storyline calls for it, not because there's a mandatory pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell. Finn Bálor and Edge, this storyline has been going on now for almost a year, since Judgment Day was first formed and Edge was kicked out. It's been a lengthy story, and this is a fitting conclusion. Will we get Demon Bálor? Will we get a new version of Demon Bálor? He changes up the makeup a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if Bálor brings out a dark persona for WrestleMania. Time will tell on that. Like, if you're going to do it, WrestleMania, Hell in a Cell would be the time. Anyways, let's get to the tag team match, which was pretty standard here. Of course, anytime Dominic tagged in, he got booed heavily. He did the Three Amigos, which is always guaranteed to get some boos. And Gargano avoided the 619, tagged in Dexter Lumis, and Dominic tried to cheat by putting his feet on the rope, but Candice LeRae pushed his feet off, and then that's when Rhea Ripley and Candice started fighting on the outside. Dexter Lumis made the mistake of going out there and staring down Rhea Ripley because Judgment Day took advantage of this. Dominic hit a frog splash. Gargano broke up the pin, but then Damian Priest tagged back in and pinned Lumis with the South of Heaven chokeslam. Judgment Day building up some momentum for WrestleMania. We had Chad Gable, and this was a storyline during the show. He was backstage looking for Otis. Otis was nowhere to be found, and he printed out the milk carton ads, handing them around. And we also had a clip of Damage Control. They had attacked Trish Stratus earlier in the day. More on that here in just a few moments. We had MVP with Omos for a confrontation with Brock Lesnar. MVP said a few things, said that Lesnar made a critical error putting his hands on him. Brock Lesnar quickly showed up. Brock Lesnar's not one to sit in the back and wait. He got in the ring. We had the face-off, and the crowd chanted, "Holy shit." But, of course, shit got censored on the USA Network, which, why? Like, I get the F word, but really either word. At this point, 2023, do we really need to censor it? Like, everybody knows when the crowd is saying holy bleep, everybody, 5-year-old kids at home know what the bleep is. So why censor it? Like, it doesn't make sense to me in this day and age. Anyways, they're censoring it. And for those of you that are like, man, this match sucks, this is a terrible idea. Well, on one hand, the crowd reaction speaks volumes. On the other hand, the brief physical encounter they had does not look promising for this match, because there was a fun moment where Omos stuck his fist in Lesnar's face, and that was a cool visual. And then Omos offered a handshake. Lesnar accepted, but then Omos did not let go. Lesnar stomped on Omos's foot, and then they started to fight. Omos quickly got the upper hand and tried to clothesline Lesnar, had trouble getting him out of the ring, and like I said, doesn't look too promising for their match. They had one job. Omos just has to send Lesnar over the top rope, and they still could not do it cleanly. It was a mess. So anyways, I hope they practice. They are going to need some practicing to pull this match off, I'm thinking. But yeah, the live crowd, they were into it. So, I mean, there you go. That's why they're doing it, because it is a spectacle. And Brock actually walked away. Officials came down, and Lesnar decided to back off. So he's putting over Omos as a real threat. But of course, we all know that Brock's going to kick his ass come WrestleMania. Next up, we had Cody Rhodes versus LA Knight. And this was a nice showing for Cody. And I still hope that LA Knight gets a big push after WrestleMania, because the guy has so much potential. Great talker. He looks in the best shape of his life. And when I saw these guys in the ring, it kind of gave me vibes back in the day when The Rock and Triple H were first feuding before the Attitude Era really kicked off. And maybe one day Cody Rhodes versus LA Knight could be a hot storyline in WWE for the world title. They could have an epic rivalry down the line. We'll see. I'd love to see LA Knight win Money in the Bank this year. So anyways, Cody got a total superstar reaction. The crowd's doing the whoa during his entrance. They love his entrance music. They were chanting his name during the match. It was a very basic match. LA Knight did get some offense, and at one point he did the old Kurt Angle spot where he jumped up to the top rope and suplexed Cody Rhodes down. But eventually Cody made his comeback, hit the disaster kick, and then he eventually hit the cutter. He missed his first attempt, but got it on the second, and then hit the crossroads and picked up the win. And Calvin, as far as that rumor goes, I'll believe it when I see it. I would love to see that match, but man, we're so close now to WrestleMania that I feel like it might be too late. But I'd love to see LA Knight come out there and bitch about not having a spot at WrestleMania, and Austin shows up and leaves him laying with a stunner. Like, they could do that. And like I said, after WrestleMania, start really pushing LA Knight and maybe consider him for Money in the Bank. I think he would be great. I hope he gets a big push after WrestleMania. Like I said on a recent stream, I'm more into LA Knight than Bray Wyatt at this point. Like, Bray Wyatt really soured on me. And speaking of him, there's another interesting story that's been developing. Bray Wyatt not on Raw. Bray Wyatt was not on SmackDown. What is going on here? And Bobby Lashley is tweeting about, it doesn't matter who I'm fighting at WrestleMania. I want to take my frustrations out on somebody. Basically, that's what he said. I'm not sure verbatim what he tweeted, but yeah, what is going on here with Bray Wyatt? Like, is he hurt? Is there some creative issue? Like, there's a lot of rumor and innuendo right now surrounding Bray Wyatt. But yeah, I'm not sure what to make of the whole thing. But if that match doesn't happen, then I'm not exactly going to be upset. I'll be upset if Bray Wyatt is out of action for a while. But yeah, like I said, I haven't been feeling the character in recent weeks. And LA Knight, on the other hand, I think he has a lot of potential to be a big deal in WWE over the next several years. Moving on here, we had a Seth Rollins backstage promo interrupted by The Miz. I guess next week there's going to be an Impulsive TV with Logan Paul. And Baron Corbin was there. Corbin was just trying to get some kind of attention, maybe be the co-host for WrestleMania. But Miz said that he doesn't have that much stroke. Corbin wanted to be on Logan Paul's show, and Miz said that it's all booked up. And Corbin eventually insulted Rollins, and that led to Corbin getting a match with Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. Next up, we had Elias with Rick Boogs versus Bronson Reed. Boogs was taking notes, and I guess he was taking notes on how not to compete against Bronson Reed, because Bronson more or less kicked Elias's ass. It was basically a squash match. I mean, Elias really got no offense, and Bronson Reed quickly won with the tsunami. Poor Elias, like, he's just dead in the water at this point. And unfortunately, Rick Boogs doesn't have much going on. He's just there. Rick Boogs and Nakamura, like, they should have been reunited. Where is Nakamura, by the way? He just disappeared after that Great Muta match, and we haven't seen anything from him, I think, in the entire 2023. Like, what's the deal with him? Backstage, Becky Lynch and Lita were seen going into the trainer's room where they were checking on Trish Stratus. Kevin Owens did a backstage promo and once again said he wishes Sami Zayn well, but doesn't want anything to do with him. He said if Cody wants to help Sami Zayn, fine, but Owens doesn't need Cody's help, doesn't need Sami's help. He will focus on Solo Sikoa, and he said that Cody needs to focus on WrestleMania and Roman Reigns. And I forgot to mention from earlier, Cody did cut a promo after his match. I did skip that by accident. And he just brought up how this whole feud has been personal since he first appeared on WWE TV. He acknowledges Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns needs to acknowledge him. And he said on April 2nd, the sun is going to go down on Roman Reigns' generational run as the unified WWE Universal Champion. And Roman Reigns will be on next week's show, and Paul Heyman cut a backstage promo and teased that, basically said that they would solve the KO problem on Raw, and next week Cody can acknowledge Roman Reigns, and then Cody can decide if he's a challenger or if he's a problem, and then finished by saying that Roman Reigns would personally love to solve Cody if he's a problem. We had footage of the Street Profits confronting Austin Theory backstage, and this was supposed to be earlier in the day. And Theory was mocked by the Street Profits, and Theory responded by saying that the Street Profits are doing nothing at WrestleMania, and that set up Theory versus Angelo Dawkins. Crowd was chanting Cena during the match. It was basically a showcase match for Austin Theory. Dawkins did get in some offense, got a few near falls, but in the end, Theory punched Dawkins in the face with the left hand and then scored the 1-2-3 victory with the A-Town down. And then afterwards, for good measure, put John Cena or use John Cena's STF move on Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford ran down there to make the save. Match was just decent, nothing special. Arlene sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, my brother noticed that Cody Rhodes said future Universal Champion and not Unified Champion. Was that a botch by Cody? Probably not. I think sometimes wrestlers are just thinking on the fly, and I don't think that that was done intentionally. He probably just thinks of Roman Reigns as the Universal Champion, since that's the title that Roman has held for so long, and the full name is the Unified Universal Champion. It's just a mouthful, and Cody's just trying to think fast when he's doing his promo. So yeah, he probably just said Universal Champion. I don't really think that anybody should read anything into that. Now, there is, of course, the rumor that the titles are going to be split again, and we do have 2 more weeks, but I'm feeling like they're not going to do it. Like, if they were going to do it, I think they would have been teasing it more by this point. We'll see, though. Roman Reigns will be on Raw next week, and I'm not even sure how you get to that point. Like, Cody won the Rumble match, and does Roman just say, I'm not going to defend both titles? Like, does it really work that way? So I'm not sure how they can even logically get to it at this point. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Much appreciated. Hamp says, today in history in 2011, the infamous match between Sting and Jeff Hardy at Victory Road for the TNA World title. Man, what an embarrassment that was. That was the last thing that TNA needed, as their popularity was declining, and it just made a complete mockery of the title and the entire company. They should have fired Jeff Hardy and never brought him back, but they did not. That's a guy that got a lot of second, third, fourth chances. And, you know, he might come back to AEW, which to me is crazy. I think he should probably stay away from wrestling. But yeah, that is a reminder that wrestlers, if they're over enough, if they sell tickets, they get chance after chance after chance. Like, if any other wrestler did that did not have Jeff Hardy's drawing power, they would have been fired in a heartbeat. And if you do that in your real life job, in your job that you're doing right now, I'm guessing most of you if you showed up that out of it under the influence, you would probably be fired. So anyways, enough of that. Back to Raw. We had Rey Mysterio come into the ring for a promo, and it was kind of feeling like the SmackDown promo. Crowd was chanting, "You deserve it." Feels good to be back on Raw. He talked about the Hall of Fame, said it's for all of them. He was quickly interrupted by Dominic. So again, feeling like the SmackDown segment, but was a little bit different this time. So Dominic with the usual stuff. Crowd was chanting, "You suck." Dominic said that Rey earned the honor at the expense of him, Dominic, because Rey chose strangers over his own kids. And Rey ditched Dominic for WrestleMania. Rey got Dominic a BMW instead of a Mercedes. Rey is a sad excuse for a man. And this is what I mentioned earlier. So Dominic threw in this line, said he will let Rey enjoy his Hall of Fame weekend, which to me is just throwing it out there to everybody, saying that there's not going to be some kind of attack or anything. But basically, Dominic, the point of all this was he has officially challenged Rey Mysterio, his father, to a match at WrestleMania. And Rey once again said he is not going to fight his own son. He still loves Dominic and always will. And there will be no match at WrestleMania. And he left the ring. Dominic tried to keep running his mouth, but Dominic could not convince Rey to get back in the ring. Rey, in fact, did walk away. And we still got a few more weeks left. And again, they, like the Sami Zayn angle, they may wait until the go-home show to do the final big angle to set this up. We're all waiting for it when Rey finally punches out Dominic. So yeah, I mean, there's two big angles we're all waiting for. We're waiting for Sami Zayn and KO to reunite, and we're waiting for Rey Mysterio to punch out Dominic. And then backstage, we heard from Trish Stratus. She came out of the trainer's room with Becky Lynch and Lita. And she said that all Damage Control managed to do was piss her off. She's been hurt before, and it hasn't stopped her. So yeah, I mean, they didn't really do much to build up the 6-woman match. They just did this little angle, and not much else involving these 6 on this particular show. They still have a few weeks left to build it up, but yeah, not too much for this one. We then had Seth freaking Rollins versus Baron Corbin with The Miz on commentary. Corbin attacked Rollins before the match could even start. Crowd, of course, was singing Rollins' song, and Rollins clotheslined Corbin over the top, hit a big dive to Corbin, and then Corbin was thrown into The Miz. And anytime something like this happens, you know the guy on commentary has to get involved. And sure enough, once Rollins and Corbin were back in the ring, Miz got on the apron. He got kicked into the ring, and then Rollins actually bounced off the Miz for leverage and hit the curb stomp on Baron Corbin. Got the 1-2-3 victory. No surprise here. And just a little bit of filler. Next week, they're doing the angle with Logan Paul. So, yeah, not much else to say about it. Backstage, we had a little Mustafa Ali cameo. He still has a job in WWE, and I guess now he's like a guru of positivity. I have no idea what he's doing now. I thought he was doing something with Dolph Ziggler. Did they drop that? Like, I didn't really care, but yeah, it seems like he's doing some kind of different gimmick now. Chad Gable finally found Otis, who was taking pictures with the Maximum Male models. There was supposed to be a tag team match, and basically it got postponed to next week. I guess MMM were not cosmetically cleared to do the match or some crap like that. And Gable wanted to be in the pictures, and I guess the pictures were so bad they broke the camera. So yeah, I mean, it's just, comedy stuff. I feel bad because I felt like Chad Gable and Otis were actually starting to gain some momentum as a serious babyface tag team. And now it's like a comedy act again. Like, what the hell? I actually thought that they were onto something with those guys as a babyface tag team. So that's kind of a shame. And then we had Bianca Belair versus Chelsea Green. And you had Carmella out there with a cheap shot, but ultimately that did not work out for her. Bianca Belair did end up beating Chelsea Green with the KOD despite the outside interference of Carmella. So yeah, pretty much what you would expect out of this match. And then afterwards, it was 2-on-1, but Asuka ran down and Asuka grabbed the championship and started dancing around, playing the title like it was a guitar. And then the blue crap started coming out of her mouth. She started laughing like a mad woman, and then dropped the championship. So I guess the idea is that Asuka's slowly going into the darkness or whatever. But yeah, the buildup for this, in my opinion, hasn't really been great either. I mean, of the three women's matches that are being pushed for WrestleMania, I mean, definitely Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, I think, has the best buildup. But even that match, like, I don't think should be the main event of night one. Speaking of Rhea Ripley, they aired the Stranger Things parody, which was fine, The WrestleMania trailers, like in 2005, when they did the trailers for WrestleMania 21, I didn't even think those were that great. I think that people have the nostalgia glasses on those. I thought the best part of those old commercials was the Ric Flair Triple H Braveheart one. And these ones have been okay, but I mean, nothing too special. So anyways, let's move on here to our main event of the evening. Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa in a street fight. And this was a solid main event. They brawled on the outside of the ring. Crowd was chanting, "We want tables." And a little funny moment that they do a lot. KO pulled out the table, and then Solo pushed the table back under the ring and got the heat. They do that quite often. And then after the commercial break, Kevin Owens set up multiple chairs in the ring. And you know what happens. The guy that sets it up usually ends up being the victim. They were both on the top, and Solo ended up slamming Owens off the top onto the chairs. Crowd chanted, "Holy shit." USA Network censored it. And then they fought into the crowd, and they fought into the backstage area, but it was a setup. The Usos were back there. They super kicked KO with the ambush. Then they dragged Owens's carcass back into the ring. And then it was academic here. It was easy for Solo. He just hit the Solo spike, and he picked up the 1-2-3 victory. And because KO did not want any help, well, he got no help. So there you go. It actually made sense here because KO was very specific. I don't want anybody helping me. And he did not get any help, which of course will continue this story. And now maybe Kevin Owens will have to reconsider things. So all in all, match was fine. This show was more about building up next week than anything else. Slow burn for WrestleMania, no real big angles. They did set up Hell in a Cell, which was a nice segment. Show was all right, not great or anything. I would somewhat recommend it, but a lot of stuff I felt was skippable. No real big angle that you had to see, other than maybe the Hell in a Cell announcement. So I'm going to give the show a B-. It was decent. Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Much appreciated. Walter says, do you think Dominic versus Ray will be if Ray wins, Dominic leaves Judgment Day? If Dominic wins, Ray will retire or unmask type situation? Say yes to no DQ, hashtag stick to my shtick. Well, a lot of people have speculated on like mask versus hair, which would make sense. Like if Ray's really retiring, and that remains to be seen, but if he's really retiring, then that would make sense where Ray puts his mask on the line, loses, unmasks, and Dominic gets the mask. But is that what they're really going with? Is this really the end of Rey Mysterio? Or are they going to keep this storyline going on for a bit longer? Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Says, can they afford to wait any longer for the reunion? Yes. And I say this every week because people keep asking me, as far as KO and Sammy goes, remember when Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins got back together for that SummerSlam? They literally did the reunion on the Go Home show. So it absolutely 100% can wait if they want to stretch it out. And it's better to peak right before WrestleMania. So when they finally do the reunion, we're all like, well, WrestleMania is this Sunday. They're back together, or Saturday, if that's when the match is. So you're hyped. You know, they're back together. This Saturday, they're teaming up against the Usos for the titles. So yeah, I think they can definitely wait if they want to. Gomer Kyle with the $2 super chat says, worst commercial tonight. Well, it's still the K Jewelers commercial. They still air it, and it's still the worst commercial. I'm just tired of hearing it. You don't need to buy love. As Paul McCartney once said, money can't buy me love. So if you have to buy your love with jewelry, then you're doing it wrong. So no to K Jewelers, but yes to NoDQ.com. Thank you all again for tuning in. Much love and appreciation to everybody out there. Thank you all for tuning in. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, a thumbs up on YouTube, and spread the word. Tell a friend as we get closer to WrestleMania. Any word of mouth is very helpful. So if you have a friend who watches wrestling, have them check out this video. Send them a link. Facebook message them. Tweet them. DM them. Send them a link to this video. And that definitely makes a difference. So you're helping me out if you can do that. Thank you all so much again. Much love and appreciation. Stay tuned for more No DQ content, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest wrestling news and rumors. And I will see you all next time.